After we wrapped up our few days in Santiago, we wanted to see something in Chile that most people don't get to see. When we pulled up to our Airbnb, it was awesome. This place has the most amazing view. One entire wall of it is a giant window, and looking out of that, you're seeing the entire coastline and the island in the distance. It's absolutely beautiful. We couldn't have picked a better spot to end the last leg of our trip. And since Ignacio is a professional biker and coach, it seemed like the perfect time to try my hand at downhill biking.
Hey Andrey, are you ready for your mountain bike friendly class?
I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
Hey.
I haven't ridden a bike in something like 16 years, since I was 10. So when I first got on, it was definitely very shaky. We started with the basics, like turning and how to balance on the bike correctly and use the brakes. We started by practicing a sharp bank turn that went straight into the forest. It took me a lot of tries to stay on the entire time because you have to put the bike at a really sharp angle. And I kept derailing halfway into the turn and going straight into the tree. After a while, with enough practice, I could get through the turn without crashing into stuff, which was definitely a lot of progress, I feel like, from where I started. But as soon as we were past that bank turn, Ignacio was just like, yeah, follow me. And we were just careening downhill through this windy trail all of a sudden, and I was just happy to not crash. The first obstacle we hit was a series of jumps.
Good. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
My first couple didn't go so well, but Ignacio showed me what I was doing wrong with the weight distribution and the way I was applying pressure on the ramp right before jumping off.
How you press, you give pressure to the kicker, and how you landing with the same symmetry.
And after I tried a few more times, I kind of got the hang of it and was doing some decent jumps.
Good. Ah, that was really good, dude.
They built this giant curving wall right in the middle of the forest, and the idea was to get on with a decent amount of speed and ride sideways along the wall with your bike the entire way, and then get off somehow magically without crashing. The hardest part of the wall ride is being able to turn off of it. So Ignacio started by trying to get me to do a very sharp turn where I get onto the wall and I get off of it right away. As I kept trying to do that, I noticed that getting on the wall and staying on was not too hard. But once you're on it, to turn off was super difficult. I kept trying and I had a couple spills at the end of the wall and I rode it the entire way on accident a couple times, but I couldn't do the sharp turn that he was trying to get me to do. It seemed easier to just go full blast right on the wall and ride the entire thing. After a while, Ignacio felt like I got the hang of it and we moved on to the next part of the course. The camera didn't do these ridges justice. They were so much steeper than they looked on film. It was really nerve-wracking being right at the top and trying to summon the courage to go down the hill. The tough part about it was the fact that in order to go down the right way, you had to lean forward. So on this incredibly steep hill, you're basically falling for like a full second with your face first into the ground. It took a while to summon the courage, but after some time, I accidentally went too far down the ridge to the point where I couldn't really brake to stop myself and had no choice but to lean into it and go all the way down. After doing it once, it became easier and easier, and I was going down some of the steeper ridges again and again. After the ridges, we rode right out of the park. The rest of the track was pretty straightforward. Downhill biking is definitely one of the hardest things I tried on this trip, but I absolutely loved it. Biking just felt really intuitive, and I just really enjoyed every part of it. Learning and getting better at something over the course of a day is just really awesome, and I definitely feel like I progressed a lot because Ignacio was such a good coach.
And it was really good. You really, and it's not just for saying, in jumps, you have a skill. In the other things, you have to improve and work, but in the jumps, you have that timing. Normally at that speed, many people go in front and they die. Okay. You did it good, dude.
Oh, cool.
All in all, this was an amazing trip from start to finish. From Valparaiso to Santiago to Matanzas, every single city we went to had a ton to see and do, and it was awesome to experience a bunch of things that I've never done before. I think all of us love the trip, and we can't wait to come back.